In this video, we're going to talk about how to stand and how to sit. Most people think of this as posture. This word can mean different things to different people, posture that is. So I like the word balance better because balance should mean the same thing to everybody. And balance is also a lively, internal sensation that belongs to you. Posture, unfortunately, could mean just a comparison to some sort of abstract postural ideal, as though we all have to look the same. The problem is we're all built differently, and we all have different sizes and models of instruments. And the word balance allows for all of these individual differences. To find balance, put one hand on your belly button and put the other hand opposite in the small of your back. Right in between your hands is your massive lumbar spine. It's the largest part of your spine. It's your core. And all of the weight above your hands is delivered efficiently through your core if you're balanced. So let's find that lumbar. Holding your hands here, make little circles at the lumbar so you can find where it is. You might feel your hips swivel a little bit. That's okay. You might change directions. And as you're moving, I want you to notice with your hand in the back that the little tiny back muscles engage and disengage all around the circle. I can feel them. What you want to find is the place of least work. That's when you are balanced over your lumbar so that all of the weight above is delivered right through the lumbar efficiently down through your legs and feet and to the floor. So it's not your responsibility to hold yourself up. It's really just the floor's. The other way to think of this is to use a minimum of muscular effort just to stand or sit. You want to let your bones hold you up because they don't require any effort if you're balanced. Now, keeping your hands here, I want you to try tucking your bottom inward like this so that you can feel what that does to your lower back. You're thrown off. Now, if you come out of that, you can feel the balance come back. And if you go forward, you can also feel how that's off the balance line. All right, now it's perfectly fine to move away from the balance line because you can always come back to it. You know exactly where it is. And you also don't have to feel like you have to look a certain way, which is unhealthy. So if I apply this principle to the trombone, I'll turn to the side so you can clearly see. Here I am balanced, everything's good. So you should have seen me tuck. This is very common, very classic. And it's not a good thing to do. It may feel like you're supposed to, but I don't recommend it. You want to retain that balance that we found right through the lumbar. So as I put the instrument up, I'm going to remain balanced right through this lumbar area. Now, if you are accustomed to tucking always, then when you finally achieve balance, as we've done here, you will feel like you're about to fall forward. It'll take some time, but what you will find is compensations in other parts of your body in order to hold the instrument up, and that will save your back. It will also make your breathing more efficient because this is not conducive to good breathing. So one more point on this tuck is oftentimes if you play in a marching band, you're asked to play to the press box. So you'll tuck like that, and it gets very painful, and it's very unhealthy. So my suggestion is to move from this joint up here and swivel at your head in order to point up. It's still not very comfortable, but I know you have to do the motion in order to look right on the field. So it's a better alternative to tucking. Now let's talk a little bit about applying these principles to sitting. When sitting, the same principles of balance apply. You still want to be balanced at the lumbar, so all the weight above that point gets delivered efficiently down and through the chair. You have two rounded bony protrusions. They're called rockers, and those are your butt bones. That's what you sit on. They're also known as sits bones. Those are the things where you want to feel the weight being delivered to the chair. You don't sit on your legs, you sit on your sit bones. And so let's find balance when sitting. These chairs that I have don't work real well, but I can still feel the weight going through my lumbar and through my sit bones and to the chair if I'm balanced. And just like we did before, we can move on our rockers a little bit just to try and feel them. When I was young, I thought I had to do this. And I had terrible back pain after years of sitting like that. And the reason I thought I had to do that was to look a certain way. And once again, that's one of the problems with the word posture. Because if I sit in a posture-y sort of way, like I'm trying to please somebody else, it's not necessarily what's best for me. If I sit in a balanced sort of way, it feels much more organic, and I feel like I have movement available in any direction like this. And I feel like I can breathe too, so that's very helpful. Again, I think one of the things that happens is that if you see a student who's clearly slumped over, then obviously that's not the right thing to do. So if you tell them to sit up straight, the danger is that they would do what I used to do, which is exaggerate that curve in the lumbar in order to stick my chest out and look good. Well, that's really unhealthy. You want to be balanced, which is in between this slump, which is sort of like flat. It feels like flat sitting, and this posture-y sort of sharp sitting. So you don't want to be flat or sharp. You want to be in tune. And when you're in tune, you can feel that weight delivered through your sits bones and right through to the chair. In some chairs, it's easier to be balanced on the front of the chair. Like when I just moved forward, it feels much more obvious that the weight is being delivered through where it should be. And if I'm back here, there's a little dip in this particular chair. It's harder to feel, though it's not impossible. So where you sit on the chair depends on the chair. So I would not issue some universal imperative that everybody sits on the front of their chair, because again, that kind of goes right back to the whole idea that everybody has to look a certain way. If you are a teacher, empower your students by teaching them about balance and weight delivery. It won't take that long. It's not that complicated. You can even use this video if it'll help you. But if you do that, then you no longer have to be the posture police. You can let each student find balance on their own. And if you see slumping, you can remind them, be balanced. And as opposed to just sit up straight, which is a little too simplistic in some ways. And in my case, created problems, actually. So there's balance when standing and sitting.